We've noticed an interesting phenomenon with retirement planning clients. They sometimes ask why their retirement plan is so good when their friends are perhaps a bit more pessimistic about retirement. Maybe you've experienced this yourself. Maybe you're wondering, why is my retirement plan so good? And maybe you're wondering why your friends keep saying, we can't afford to retire. In this video, we're going to cover the 6 reasons why your retirement plan might be better than your friends. We're going to highlight why you can retire and perhaps why your friends feel like they can't. This video is all about giving you the confidence to retire, even when you're surrounded by friends, family, and coworkers who are perhaps a bit more pessimistic about retirement. My name is Owen. I'm an advice-only financial planner and a CFP, and we actually get this question all the time. We have clients that ask, why is my retirement plan better than my friends, family, or coworkers? The clients often have a good retirement plan, and their friends are seemingly in a similar financial position, but they keep saying things like they'll never retire, they'll have to work until age 70, or they'll have to work at least a few more years before they can even think of retirement. This often confuses the client. How can their retirement plan be so good when they have friends, family, and coworkers who have a retirement plan that isn't? The problem is that we don't discuss personal finances in detail. So when a friend, family, or coworker says, I'll never be able to retire, we don't know their specific situation, their values, and their goals. We don't know the differences between their plan and your plan. In this video, we're going to cover the 6 common differences between retirement plans. We're going to cover the things that seem small but have a really big impact on a retirement plan. Let's first go through those 6 things together, and then we're going to take a look at some examples in some actual financial planning software to see the dollar difference that these things can have on a retirement plan. Now, the first factor is they just might not have a plan at all. Maybe they have an investment advisor, maybe they have a financial advisor, but they might not have a detailed retirement plan. So they might not feel as confident about retirement as you do because you might have a detailed retirement plan looking at taxes, drawdown, different RSP meltdown strategies, TFSA accumulation strategies. Without having a plan in place, you can understand why they might not feel as confident about retirement. They actually might be in a very good position for retirement, but without having a detailed plan, they have no idea if that's the case. If you don't have a retirement plan yet, we would encourage you to get one started. If you go to advice.ca, click the For Clients tab, you can get access to the retirement planning software that we use with clients directly for just $9 a month or $49 for the year. Click the Start Planning button and you can use the software, the AI strategies, and you get access to our community forum for support and our bi-monthly webinars. We do a case study webinar every month and we do an open office hours every month where you can ask questions. If you don't have a retirement plan, we would highly encourage you to get one started. Now, the second factor is spending. Spending has a really big impact on a retirement plan. It's one of the biggest factors within a retirement plan, and spending even a little bit more on a monthly basis could mean that a friend, family, or coworker needs to save up quite a bit more before they can retire. Let's go through an example. Let's just assume that they're spending an extra $300 per month. That's about $4,000 per year. And then if they need the financial assets to support that in retirement, using the 4% rule, that's about $100,000 in additional financial assets that they need. More if it's in a registered account and they have to pay tax when they withdraw it. So if a friend is spending an extra $300 a month or so, it doesn't seem like a lot. I think we can all appreciate how easy it is to spend an extra $300 a month, but that means that they need an extra $100,000 before they can confidently retire. Now, the third thing is investment returns. Investment returns have a really big impact on a retirement plan, especially over 30 to 40 years. If your friend, family, or coworker, if they're more of a balanced investor, maybe more conservative, their expected rate of return could be quite a bit lower. If you're an aggressive investor, a more assertive investor, you might have a higher expected rate of return in retirement, which makes your retirement plan quite a bit easier. Imagine they're in a 60-40 portfolio, 60% equities, 40% fixed income. That's going to have a lower expected rate of return than somebody who has a 70-30 portfolio or 80-20 in retirement. The expected rate of return of a more assertive or aggressive portfolio in retirement makes a retirement plan quite a bit easier, makes it easier to retire, and that's maybe why your friends are feeling a little bit more pessimistic about their retirement plan. The fourth thing is investment fees. If you have lower investment fees, your retirement plan is going to be significantly easier. If you have a low-cost portfolio manager, a low-cost investment advisor, if you're a DIY investor, you might be paying investment fees of 1% or less. If you're DIY, it could be 0.25% or less. Your investment fees are quite low, and that gives you more higher expected rate of return in retirement. Your friend, family, or coworker, if they're invested with a retail bank, a large bank, or financial institution, they might be invested in mutual funds with fees of 2.5% or more. That difference, it seems small, that 1% difference, but it has a really big impact on a retirement plan, especially over 30 to 40 years. So one of the factors that could make their retirement plan a little bit less successful, a little bit more challenging, is that they're just paying investment fees of 2.5% or more on their retirement assets. Now, the fifth thing is the province that you live in. Where you live has a really big impact on a retirement plan. So if you're talking with a friend, family, or coworker who actually lives in another province, they might have a legitimate reason for being a bit more pessimistic about their retirement plan. Their retirement plan could be more challenging because they are paying more tax at a provincial level. They might have access to fewer benefits than your retirement plan might have. So if you're retiring in BC, Alberta, Ontario, you might have an easier plan because you have better tax rates. If you're retiring in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, you might be paying higher tax rates. Now, our previous video, we looked at the impact that this can have on a retirement plan. The exact same situation, same financial assets, same spending, but just moving the financial plan, the retirement plan between provinces had an impact of a few $100,000. We'll put a link to that video in the description for this video so you can have a look. But if your friend, family, or coworker is retiring in another province, that can have a really big impact on their retirement plan. Now, the sixth thing is a lower savings rate. If your friend, family, or coworker is saving even a few percent less of their income in the accumulation phase, they could have significantly less financial assets as they approach retirement. A small difference in savings rate can have a big impact over time, especially over 20, 30, 40 years of accumulation. Now, in general, we want to save between 10 and 20% of our income for retirement, but that's a big range. If you're at the higher end of that range, if you're saving 18, 19, 20% of your income, and if your coworker, friend, or family is saving maybe 15%, 14, 10% of their income towards retirement, they might need to save for an additional few years before they can confidently retire. Let's take a look at some of these things in an actual retirement plan. We're going to use Jennifer and Michael's plan here as an example. They're planning to retire at age 55. They want to spend about $80,000 a year in early retirement, $60,000 a year in late retirement. At retirement, they're going to have peak assets of about 1.16 million or so in total financial assets. And their success rate's okay at 77%. It could be improved a little bit, but they do have a long retirement period. They've got age 55 over to their late 90s. So it's a long retirement period to plan for. Now let's take a look at some of these factors and how they impact the overall plan. Right now their estate value is $2,052,000, $53,000 or so, 77% success rate. Their planned funded ratio is 133%. So let's take a look at some of these factors and how they will impact a retirement plan and why maybe a friend, family, or coworker's plan may not look quite as good. So let's first look at asset allocation. So lower expected rate of return. Jennifer and Michael have an 80-20 asset allocation, but in this example, we've changed it to a 60-40 asset allocation. We can already see that it has a really big impact on their after-tax estate value. I think we had 2 million plus before, and a 77% success rate. Now it's down to 71% success rate. So funny thing is, with a more conservative asset allocation, they're actually losing that higher rate of return, and it makes their plan less successful. So their success rate now, there's a higher chance of running out of money in earlier retirement, despite having a more conservative asset allocation. So this has definitely an impact on the retirement plan. And if Jennifer and Michael had a 60-40 asset allocation, they might need to work an extra few years just to make the plan a little bit more successful. Now let's take a look at another factor. Let's look at higher investment fees. So Jennifer and Michael, they are low-cost DIY investors, but here their investment fees are 2%. So we can see that this has an even bigger impact on their net worth over time. Rather than a $2 million plus estate, it's down to 1.1, 1.2 million, and their success rate's only 52%. So going from a DIY portfolio with maybe 0.25% in fees up to a sort of mutual fund portfolio with 2% fees or more has a really big impact on a retirement plan. Makes it significantly less successful because we have a lower expected rate of return. This is the same 80-20 asset allocation, it's just we have 2% fees instead of maybe 0.25% DIY fees. So big impact from investment fees. Now let's take a look at the spending one. That's the last one. Let's see what sort of impact spending has on the plan. Here it's not quite as big of an impact. So estate value 1.6 million. I think we added $4,000 a year in spending. So now they're spending about $84,000 instead of $80,000. In late retirement, it's $64,000 instead of $60,000. So not a huge change in spending by any means. $4,000 a year is pretty easy to do. That's that $300 a month, but does have a big impact over time on their retirement plan. So if Jennifer and Michael, if they have a friend, family, coworker that has just slightly higher retirement spending, even though everything else is the same, their success rate could be significantly lower. Jennifer and Michael had a 77% success rate. This plan only has a 64% success rate. So they need to maybe work another year longer just to accumulate a little bit more assets to support that additional spending. Now, as you can see, these factors have a really big impact on a retirement plan. If you don't have a retirement plan yet, we would highly encourage you to put one together. Go to advice.ca, sign up. It's just $9 per month or $49 for the year. You can get access to the platform, the AI strategies, as well as our community forum for support, and we do bi-monthly webinars with case studies and office hours to answer questions. Just go to advice.ca and get started. Thanks so much for watching. I'd love it if you like and subscribe, and we'll see you at the next one.